Hey, what has happened, folks? Welcome back if you've been here before, and if not, then just plain welcome. It's always great when the media messes up and accidentally says the quiet part out loud. Former CNN talking head Chris Cillizza offered up a bit of an apology, a mea culpa, if you will, regarding his own comments during the 2020 pandemic. It seems that he realizes now that he was in error. What's interesting, though, is the reason that his comments warranted an apology in the first place. So first, I got to back up a little bit. You may have heard by now, the CNN issued a report saying that, it's very likely that what we know on YouTube as the COOF, because I don't know that YouTube has changed their policies regarding the pandemic. But anyways, the COOF may have originated in a lab. Okay, they said that's the most likely scenario. They had low confidence about it, but they said that's probably where it came from. It's just the latest report. It's the latest story that came out suggesting, this really was where the virus came from. Now, this was the same lab leak theory that was proposed by President Donald Trump pretty early on, and it was widely criticized. The media kind of just lost their mind over it. They criticized it left and right, but it was pretty clear they never considered it. And part of the reason they didn't consider it was Dr. Anthony Fauci was like, no, it had to be it had to be something natural. Some dude eating a bat from a wet market in China. But in a lengthy thread on X, Cillizza offered this as his reasoning why he got it wrong. And what's fascinating here, at least to me, is that if you look at this, it's I didn't think the President of the United States had any information I didn't have. That the President wouldn't have information that's not necessarily publicly available. What? I mean, the President is briefed every single day on a lot of different things. When there's a pandemic going, he's going to get a lot of information. Not all of that information is necessarily going to be fit for public consumption, right? Some of it may be from classified documents, could be from human intelligence sources that they don't want to reveal that they got the information because then it puts the source at risk. There's a lot of stuff going on. The possibility never entered his mind that the president might know more about a topic than him. So instead, he opted to take the word of a man who's, prior to being deified by the American left, was probably best known for his complete mishandling and bungling of the AIDS epidemics in the 1980s. Yeah, same guy. He completely screwed the pooch there. Now, apparently he's made some amends or whatever, but the fact of the matter is he botched the job. He botched the job then, he botched the job now. There's no excuse here. There's no rationale that will excuse what happened. But the thing is, his involvement in the AIDS epidemic was not exactly unknown. It was talked about. It came up a few places. Cillizza, as a journalist, should have been aware. He should have known. He should have at least looked and gone, maybe I shouldn't automatically take the word of this guy. But he did. And really, it's whether or not Trump knew anything else is kind of irrelevant. It was that he acknowledges that it never occurred to him that Trump might know anything that he didn't know. Trump could only know what was available to the public, despite being authorized to know just about everything in the United States government. It was because, like he says, he gives reasons that Trump says a lot of shit. Trump talks out of his ass. He says a lot of stuff. And it was just easy to dismiss everything because Trump talks a lot of shit. Now, a lot of stuff Trump says is, sure, a lot of it is hyperbole, but a lot of it he said actually turned out to be kind of accurate in a lot of ways. But as he said in a different tweet, quote, I let my belief that Trump, said stuff get in the way of the possibility that he could be right. But your job as a reporter isn't to determine whether or not someone is right. Okay, Cillizza is a commentator, just like me. He's fine offering his opinions. But his opinions helped shape the way things were reported. It was very common to see, talk about the lab leak theory being, Trump making comments about it, followed by, unsupported, or with the phrase, unsupported allegation reasons or without evidence or whatever to make it very, very clear to the Chinese government, hey, we don't think you screwed up. He thinks you screwed up. Yeah, it's kind of hard to wonder why press and the media is so in the fucking toilet. Now, I will give Cillizza credit for one thing. He owned up to his mistake. This entire thread is a mea culpa. It's him saying, I got it wrong. Here's why I got it wrong. I don't know that he's actually trying to excuse it so much as simply saying, hey, because he does point out that just because Trump talks a lot of crap doesn't mean that everything he says is crap. But, I guess that's kind of a big thing from coming from somebody who worked for Washington Post and CNN. And that's why, though, Cillizza doing it is such a problem, because he's not some neophyte, right? He's not some guy, working out of his mom's basement on, posting stuff on Reddit. He worked with some of the biggest platforms in journalism. We can argue whether CNN and the Washington Post are really journalism, but a lot of people still believe it. A lot of people still buy what they're selling. Not as many as used to, thank God, but enough, right? Cillizza should have known better. He should have at least asked the question. And if he had just prefaced it with, based on what we can see, there's not any evidence. Fauci says not, and I'm going to side with the guy with the infectious disease track record. I'm going to cite the expert in infectious disease. Turns out you'd have been just as wrong, but at least the whole thing would have made some sense. But everybody dismissed the argument right out the bat. Cillizza should have known better, and his colleagues should have known better. Cillizza did admit he was wrong again, and that's great. I want to encourage this. I want to see it more, because it's easy to screw up. I've done it. I've hit on stories that weren't real. I've ignored stories that turned out to be real. People make mistakes. I can accept that. The thing is, when I've made a mistake, I've endeavored to try to get better from it. I don't know that Cillizza will. I don't know that any of his colleagues will. Most of them aren't even acknowledging they screwed up. But for Cillizza, it really boils down to, what do you do going forward? Are you going to do this again? You've got another 4 years ahead of you of a Trump administration. Are you going to play the same game, or are you going to be a little more, once bitten, twice shy? But I want to know what you think, all right? Do you think, is Cillizza off the hook? Did he do nothing wrong in the first place? Or is there just way too much to forgive? Tell me what you think down in the comments. And while you're at it, hit like and subscribe. And I will catch you all next time.